Good morning. For those of you that I haven't met, my name is Ralph Duncan. I'm with the Northwest Tech Bridge. We'd like to welcome you to this program, this official launch of our whale challenge, the autonomous detection of marine mammals. One of the things I'd like to do before we get started and introduce you to our speakers is acknowledge our partners in this challenge and in getting this thing to this point today. I'd specifically initially like to recognize from the East Coast the 401 Tech Bridge and the Navy Lab at Newport, Rhode Island as our partners. And specifically, I'd like to acknowledge my partner in crime and co-manager of this challenge, Linda Larson. And she's played a big part in helping me get through this and helping us get through this. So I'd like to recognize National Security Innovation Network and Justin Dunnicliffe, who's Chief of Staff of Ensign. Naval Sea System Command, who is one of our main sponsors. Quiet Sound, and we're happy to have Rachel Aronson here as a speaker, who's Director of Quiet Sound, as well as Maritime Blue. Impact Washington, who, along with Pacific Northwest Defense Coalition, has made arrangements for this space for us. We appreciate that very much. And so we would like to thank all of our sponsors for helping us get to this point, without whom we wouldn't be here. I would also like to acknowledge our esteemed judges that we have lined up for this challenge. There are 6 of them. Rachel Aronson to speak of. Not only is she a speaker today, she's also our lead evaluator for the evaluation team. I'd like to recognize Dr. Steve Bordenero, who is the chief scientist at Navy Lab Newport and the Northeast Tech Bridge. Dr. Aaron Darton, who is the chief technical officer at Navy Lab Keyport, and will be a judge as well. Dr. Chris Verlinden, who's the Chief Technical Officer at Applied Ocean Sciences, who is an expert, decades of experience in this field of marine mammals and marine mammal detection. And then finally, and Dr. Molly Greer, who is with PNNL, Pacific Northwest Labs, an ocean engineer there at the Sitka Lab. And finally, the last judge, the 6th judge, Josh Carter, not to imply that he's the last judge, but he's the program director for Maritime Blue Accelerator and has extensive knowledge in startups and these kind of prize challenges, and we're glad to have him. Before we start introducing the speakers, I'd like to make a note about asking questions. For those of you that are online, especially, you can ask the questions in chat and nod at me if that's correct, and then we will reread those questions here in the room, and the questions will be repeated for everyone in the room and for the film. So I believe that's the process that we're going to be going through for questions. So with that, I won't stand up here much longer. I'll introduce the Northwest Tech Bridge Director, Johannes Schoenberg, whose efforts were primary in getting this challenge going. He probably doesn't even want me to mention how many hours he spent talking to people trying to get this challenge going, so I won't. And so I'll just turn it over to Johannes to introduce our speakers. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning. Again, my name is Johannes Schoenberg. I'm the Northwest Tech Bridge Director out of Navy Lab at Keyport. And I just want to thank everyone who's joined us today, both in person and virtually. Thanks to Ryan Casey, the District Director for Congressman Rick Larson's office, and to Keith Swenson from the Washington State Department of Commerce as well for joining us. I'm excited to announce today's speakers. They'll be announcing the launch of the Autonomous Detection of Marine Mammals Prize Challenge. This effort has been a long time in coming, but we're excited to be able to showcase this partnership. We're collectively pursuing this challenge because autonomous vessels will be used both inland and in coastal waters in increasing numbers for commercial, scientific, and national security purposes. Together, we're working to ensure that these platforms will have the capability to safely detect and navigate around our resident marine mammal species. Further, this technology could also be used to support and augment the watch standards on high-speed ferries that are increasingly transiting our Puget Sound waters. So together we're striving to leverage this incredible group of innovators from across Washington State and Rhode Island and across the nation to help solve some of our difficult technical challenges within the autonomous vehicle space. So we're excited to have everybody here together to launch this event. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our speakers. So our first speaker will be Captain John Moretti, a native of Portland, Oregon. He enlisted in the Navy in 1989. He was selected as a nuclear enlisted commissioning program and graduated with honors from Oregon State University in 1994 with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. He was commissioned via the Officer Candidate School. He holds a Master's of Business Administration from San Diego State University and a Master of Arts in Strategic Studies and National Security from the Naval War College, where he was selected as Mahan Scholar and performed Chief Naval Operations Directed Research. Captain Moretti has served at sea aboard numerous submarine commands, supporting strategic patrols, culminating in his command of the Henry M. Jackson, leading his crew in conducting 4 strategic deterrent patrols vital to our national security, and earning the Henry M. Jackson the commander of the Pacific Fleet's Retention Excellence Award. Captain Moretti transitioned to the Navy's Acquisition Committee in 2016, and he served in key leadership positions across multiple organizations responsible for acquiring new technologies and submarines to support the Department of Navy. He's earned numerous personal and service awards, but most proud of the unit awards that he shares with his outstanding crews that he served alongside over his career. He's married to the former Jennifer Kaiser of Troutdale, Oregon, and has 2 children, Tanner and Talia, who both attended Oregon State University. Our second speaker will be Rachel Aronson. Rachel is the director of Quiet Sound, a Maritime Blue program. In her role, she administers a multi-stakeholder consortium to better understand and reduce the cumulative effects of acoustic and physical disturbances from large commercial vessels on the southern resident killer whales through the range across Washington State. Ms. Aronson studied biology and Hispanic studies at the University of Pennsylvania before moving to Washington State and earning her master's in marine and environmental affairs. She has a long history in maritime policy, serving as both a Hirschman Marine Policy Fellow for Washington State Department of Ecology, as well as the Director of Triangle Associates. The Department of Navy is fortunate to have Ms. Aronson, Quiet Sound, and Maritime Blue as partners in this autonomous detection of maritime marine mammals prize challenge. Together, we're working to advance technologies to ensure the future commercial, scientific, and federal autonomous vehicles have the ability to operate safely in the waters of Puget Sound and coastal waters of Rhode Island while strengthening our economy and science. Thank you. Captain Moretti?
Thanks, Johannes. Good morning, and welcome to the kickoff event for the Whale Prize Challenge, focused on autonomous detection of marine mammals. I'd like to thank our great TechBridge team for facilitating today's event and all of our partners, including the Department of Navy Northwest Tech Bridge, Navy Lab Keyport, Northwest Tech Bridge, Navy Lab Newport, Impact Washington, the 401 Tech Bridge, Maritime Blue, and Quiet Sound. We're all partnering on a multi-stage challenge to detect, identify, and most importantly, protect marine mammals throughout the Puget Sound. A few years back, we initiated a collaborative effort between the Department of Navy, federal offices, Washington State, and the private sector, along with the academic community, to develop a real-time tracking system that will output navigational quality data of the southern resident killer whale population location in all weather and visibility conditions. Previous efforts have led to this challenge that will kickstart a collaborative relationship between stakeholders to integrate existing technologies or develop novel approaches to protect the health of the Puget Sound wildlife and preserve national security interests. The Department of Navy routinely trains, tests, and operates worldwide in an environmentally responsible manner. To achieve this, protective measures are in place and a marine mammal assessment protocol is used. Current measures rely on the use of trained lookouts and visual survey capabilities. While effective, these measures are manually intensive and require personnel that are trained on maritime species awareness. They therefore would not be applicable to unmanned surface vehicles and necessitate automated methods for detection and display. This Whale Prize Challenge is a recognition that will take a collaborative effort between the Department of Navy and the community to develop an automated, real-time tracking system that will output navigational quality data of the orca pod location, including the hours of darkness and low visibility. As part of this challenge, the Secretary of Defense, through its National Security Innovation Network, has funded the initial phase of the prize challenge. This challenge will be a key factor in building relationships between all stakeholders that will enable the Department of Defense and the Navy to be able to meet their current and future mission needs in maintaining the security of the nation and the world's oceans. While this is the first time we work together to grow a technology capability, we're building on past collaborative successes as the 55-year restrictive easement along the Hood Canal totaling 2,500 acres of aquatic bedlands. This collaborative effort protects both the environment and our national security mission by limiting construction to protect the environment, and was only possible by the cooperative efforts between federal and state organizations, and will continue to protect our ecology for years to come. This prize challenge focuses on that long history of partnership between the Navy Lab here at Keyport and Washington State, community representatives, and local nonprofits. Further, the Whale Prize Challenge will provide an effective means for autonomous vessels to achieve maritime marine mammal protection and compliance for these endangered species. This is applicable for future deployments of autonomous fleets for both governmental and commercial vessels. Together, we can develop the needed technologies to protect our marine mammal and wildlife and the environment while at the same time meeting Navy missions to continue to support our national security interests. Thanks again for attending this event, and I'm excited to see the results of the challenge. It's my pleasure to turn over to Ms. Rachel Aronson, the Director of Quiet Sound. Rachel?
Thank you so much, Captain Moretti and Navy Tech Bridge and all the partners who are here today to make this challenge happen. It's amazing to be standing here in front of a beautiful sunny day on Puget Sound, looking out at the waters where whales and large vessels share the water every day. As folks have said already, I'm the director of Washington Maritime Blue's Quiet Sound program. Maritime Blue's mission is to accelerate the sustainability and equity of the blue economy, and our Quiet Sound Orca Protection Program joins that mission by giving large vessels, such as cargo, cruise, ferry, tankers, the technology and knowledge to reduce their impacts to whales, particularly the southern resident killer whales. They are the only endangered orcas in the US. There are 73 of them remaining, although there are a few pregnant females, so we're hoping that that number goes up. Those whales have lived in these waters since time immemorial, and they face a number of impacts that Governor Inslee's Southern Resident Orca Recovery Task Force identified, from prey availability to toxins to vessels. So Quiet Sound is excited to lead the charge in the vessel protection space. We're excited to join this tech challenge because it represents our core value, that our nation and our state's thriving maritime sector can coexist with these whales. We're excited that the Navy is contributing both their resources and their significant expertise to Quiet Sound and to this tech challenge to help whales and vessels coexist. And we're excited to see the types of solutions that people bring to the table. We will be evaluating their responses for their suitability for whale sensing, for increasing our ability to know where the whales are in Washington and on the East Coast for the right whales. And the winner of the challenge will be invited to join the next wave of Maritime Blue's Technology Accelerator Program for small business. If any one partner was sufficient to recover the southern resident killer whales, it would be done already. But it's not. It's something that everyone in our state, across the country, needs to come together and work towards. And we're very excited to see where this partnership leads and how it has great outcomes for the whales. So thank you.
Thank you. And that's an exciting announcement that the winner would then be offered a position with the Maritime Blue acceleration cohort. That's a fantastic opportunity. We've had some excellent companies come out of those cohorts already. So the next stage, we'll be going into a 15-minute sort of Q&A with our partner, Incentive. Incentive is the company, the organization that is actually executing this prize challenge. Dr. Kelly is going to come on next and speak about the mechanics of how this works, the site itself, and where you go to register. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Dr. Kelly and Incentive.
Thank you very much, Johannes. First of all, let me just say how honored and excited I am to be working with all the stakeholders on this prize challenge. I was born and grew up in Seattle, so this is near and dear to my heart. I now live on the East Coast, so the right whales I'm very well aware of the issues surrounding right whales as well. So all aspects of this challenge are quite close to my interests. So what I'm going to do right now is take you through basically the registration process for Incentive to register for the challenge, where you can find it, and take any questions about various aspects of the technical details of the challenge and how to participate. So let me share my screen. There are several ways to get to the challenge in order to register and participate in it. One way is through challenge.gov, where all the government challenges are listed. If you scroll down, you'll find the challenge here. Simply click on that, and it will take you to the challenge page directly. On this, you'll see right now that we're not logged in or registered for the challenge. So we get to see an abstract, an overview of the challenge, kind of the details, some of the overview of this, the general details, what you're going to want to submit for the challenge, the prize structure. We'll go into a little bit more detail here in just a moment on that, and also the eligibility. Another way to get to the challenge is you can simply go to incentive.com to our challenge page. Scroll down. You can also find the challenge here along with other challenges. Click on that and you'll be taken to the challenge page here as well, the overview and abstract. And then for more details, we can go to the challenge page here. Now, before we actually go into logging on and registering for this, a few of the aspects of this. This is a challenge that requires winners to assign a non-exclusive license to the IP that's represented in the solution that's presented in order to receive the award. So this basically grants the stakeholders the right to use the ideas that are presented, the software, the system that's presented if it's chosen as a winner. But it also allows solvers to continue to develop and utilize that IP for their own use and monetize it in other markets as well. The challenge award is up to $75,500. That's the total award pool for this challenge, with no less than $50,000 being awarded to the best submission, and possible smaller awards being awarded to other submissions of note or that are deemed worthy by the judging panel. So if we want to go ahead and participate in this challenge, we'll want to go ahead and log on or register here. I have an account already set up for this, but if you don't, what you'll want to do is go ahead and click to register as a solver, and it will bring up a registration page here. So they'll ask for an email, first name, last name, display name, can be anything you want for the display name. Then we collect basic demographic information. You do have to be 18 or older to participate in this challenge, or to log on as or to register as a solver for the incentive site. And we do ask for your country. There are some excluded countries, but most countries in the world are allowed to participate. And then a bit more information just on types of challenges you might like the challenge. If you're participating as part of a company, you want to click this box here and then provide some basic information about the company as well. That's just to basically let us know who's participating, and then if at the end there's an award made, we know how to process that for an individual or a company. If we look back at the challenge, as I said, once you've registered for an account on Incentive, if you don't have one already, you can come in and log into your account. And now that I'm logged in, I have a button here that says View Challenge Details. So we want to click that, and this is an important legal agreement that pops up that you have to accept in order to participate in the challenge and make a submission of your solution. So please read this carefully. This lays out the rules. It talks about the solution IP and transfer of the license, the non-exclusive license, to the seeker, which are the stakeholders in this case, in this challenge. If you're not chosen for an award, if your solution's not chosen for an award, of course, all rights revert back to you. So there's no assignment of any rights for solutions that are not awarded for this type of challenge. It goes over the payments, the timing of different payments and so forth for this, confidentiality and general conditions. There are also some aspects specific to Navy challenges. So this is an addendum at the end of what our standard challenge specific agreement is. So in terms of eligibility, first of all, let's go down to the bottom here. We'll agree. And now if we go into the eligibility, it specifies here basically the rules about who is eligible to win an award for this. Federal employees, if basically doing this sort of work is part of your regular work, then you're typically not allowed to participate or win an award in this. This challenge is open to solvers worldwide. There's no restriction to US citizenship or residents. So this, we're hoping to get solutions, of course, both from Puget Sound area, but other parts of the world that may have similar issues and have solutions that are going to be useful to us. So once you've registered for this particular challenge, then you get to see the detailed description or requirements. And there's a great background here. It really talks about, why this is so important, such an important challenge, who is involved. I'm not going to go through this all. You can read that for when you register for the challenge. And then we get down to basically the purpose of the challenge here and what we're asking solvers to provide. So ultimately, the broad overview here is a data collection system that can integrate both a below water sensor and above water sensor in order to further the technology in killer whale orca identification and tracking, basically. It doesn't have to be a complete turnkey solution at this point. This is really the kickoff of a much larger project to perfect this sort of system. And so we just want essentially to get the integration of these sensors into something that can timestamp all the sensor information and utilize it for feeding into analysis programs in order to do the identification and tracking and other aspects of that. I'll let some of the other stakeholders answer some of the more technical questions about this as well if they come up. For project criteria, it describes what is included in a solution when you make a submission to this. A detailed description of your solution. Basically, you need to describe what it is, how the platform works, the sensors that are used, source code and executables for any software developed for the challenge, or complete description of any commercial software utilized. Simulated or recorded data from each sensor individually that indicates its ability to detect marine mammals. And then demonstration of the proposed system, if available. We'd love to see some demonstration of it using stand-ins or some other modified or stand-ins for essentially the marine mammals that will be detected. We go in at the bottom, then it just restates eligibility and about the seeker here. If you decide you're ready to submit a solution, you want to hit the Add Solution button. And then you want to give the solution a name, provide a brief abstract, conclusion if you want. So the abstract is required just to tell us quickly what the solution proposes. Conclusion is optional. The heart of the submission, though, will be in the form of attachments. So Word documents, PDF documents, zipped source code. So there are certain file types that we accept natively. If it's not listed here, then go ahead and zip it into an archive and submit that. So this is really where the heart of the submission is in the attachments. And you'll just want to select a file to upload. Each file size, there's a maximum 1 gigabyte file size, so you may have to split some files up if you have a lot of executable or source code there. But once you've uploaded that, then you can either save it as a draft if you want to continue working on it, or publish it, and then that will make it a formal submission. I see we have a question about clarification of the transfer of IP. So you're transferring a license to utilize the solution that you've presented. A contract with the Navy to further develop it would come separately from the challenge here. I think Johannes or Ralph may be able to describe a little bit more about what the follow-up looks like for this and what they're hoping to do. As we stated, this is really the first stage of what we envision to be a much larger program to develop and perfect this sort of system for marine mammal detection. Let's see. So that is pretty much the details of how to participate in the challenge. If you have any questions about the details on participation here, I'll happy to answer those. And if you have any questions about kind of the technical details of the challenge, I'll leave that to the experts online. Yeah, so there's a question, once the mammal's detected in species thereof, will the AUVs respond and know what action to take, or is that so that's out of scope for now. That's going to be essentially down the road. This is really to identify and present a system to integrate this information, but not necessarily analyze and act on it at this point. Any questions about participation? You are allowed to form a team. So there's a team function also when you register for this challenge. So if you have a team of people, each of the team members will have to accept the CSA separately and then accept a team invitation from the team leader on the challenge. There is a messaging system as well. If we go to the go back to this. Let me just. So if you have a message, if you have a question, you can type it under the Messages tab after you've registered. We'll do our best to answer it as quickly as possible. Sometimes we have to go back to the stakeholders to get the specific answer for this. We do this way. The solvers remain anonymous throughout the process until the very end. If you're selected for an award, then the stakeholders will get contact information for you so that any follow-up work, any follow-up for this challenge can be undertaken. As I mentioned, if you want to form a team, there's a tab here to form a team, and you can invite team members onto this, and also you can designate the award distribution. Let me go. So we have a question also, can we see other solvers? So you cannot see other solvers, so you do remain anonymous, and then yes, there is a way to form teams, as you can see. You won't be able to see other solvers to contact them to form teams on the page or on the platform here. So you'd have to be able to do that outside the platform and know about people outside the platform in order to form teams. We also have a question on what is the targeted coverage area initially? I believe, is that the range of the detection? I think Johannes or one of the subject matter experts might be able to better answer that. Okay, so I will turn it back over to Johannes, and you know, if any other questions come up, please put them in the Q&A, and I'll do my best to answer them off or with the chat function there. All right, over to you, Johannes.
Perfect. Good morning again. Thanks to Dr. Kelly for that summary of the logistics and how you participate. So now we'll do sort of 10 to 15 minutes of question and answer till we run out of questions. So our first question is over to Dr. Kelly. It is, could you clarify what you mean by transfer of IP? Does that mean that we agreed to have a contract with the Navy to further develop the technology, or are we just giving you the blueprints and the Navy walks away with the right to turn into a software without us receiving any sort of revenue out of it? So I'll turn that over to Dr. Kelly to answer.
So yes, initially the Navy will get essentially a non-exclusive license to utilize the IP represented in the solution. They're hoping to do follow-on work with the winning solvers because there would be the best ones to continue further development. The IP does not cover like already developed sensors that are utilized within the system. It's really the integration system that is covered by the IP, the non-exclusive license.
Oh, thank you. Okay. To our next question. Thank you for that.
Sure.
The next question is, can we see other solvers? Is there a way for multiple solvers to form teams and combine capabilities? So back to Dr. Higgins on that one.
Yeah, so there is no way to see other solvers on the platform. It is all anonymous. So the kind of, at the heart of this sort of challenge is that we want solvers to remain anonymous so that solutions are judged only on their merits rather than by necessarily the resume of the solver. If it solves the problem, then that's what we want to see. So you can form teams, but you would need to contact and arrange outside of the platform with others to enter your team, to join your team.
Perfect. Next question from Arnie Thompson. what is the targeted coverage area initially? So I'll answer this myself, but just to kind of clarify, and you can ask the second question if this doesn't cover it. So targeted coverage area would be the Puget Sound, coastal waters, so particularly for the southern resident killer whales in Puget Sound, and then northeast, Narragansett Bay, and kind of the coastal waters out to the wind farms, the transit areas for the northern right whales. So if that doesn't cover the question, just ask the next question. So next question from Carl Kaiser. If the goal is to get the follow-on work, but you're unwilling to surrender IP that may be worth more than the 75K, can you submit and decline the prize if you win? So I'll pass that back to Dr. Higgins.
Technically, if you present a solution and you're selected for the award, you are obligated to accept that award in return for the IP that's represented in the solution. I think we can, take it on a case-by-case basis, though, in terms of, what the real goal of this is to find entities that can solve this and perhaps do follow-on work with this. So, my suggestion would be to present enough IP, enough of the solution to demonstrate that you can do what you want to do without necessarily giving, far more than what you think is worth what you're getting in terms of the award amount. I know, I think Johannes and the other stakeholders might be able to speak a little bit more to that in terms of, what the ultimate goal of this challenge is and the whole program.
Okay, thank you for that. So on to the next question from Mark Harris. Are we talking about autonomous surface vessels, like a large unmanned surface vessel specifically, or underwater autonomous vessels also? And definitely the answer is both. So particularly surface vessels, as they probably have more commercial application as well, but certainly underwater autonomous vehicles as well, as they do a lot of environmental sensing and other national security missions. So definitely both. Next question. Want to confirm that the deadline is 31 March 2022. So we have 5 weeks from now to submit concepts and answers, and that is correct. So the deadline is 31 March. Next question. Can the solution be a software utilizing onboard vessel radar technology? Answer to that is it can, but the goal of this challenge is particularly to demonstrate the fusion of two different data streams from a below water sensor and above water sensor of some ilk. So it could be a electrical optical or camera sort of system, a radar, combined with sort of a data feed from some type of underwater sensor would be sort of optimal. But if you have a way, and that the goal of that, ultimately, the capability is to increase the percentage of, or the probability of success in a detection and classification. So if you have a way of taking radar and having a high degree of confidence of a detection, then absolutely we'll assess that. Okay, I think that's all the questions I see for now. Perfect. One other comment too is that from our Rhode Island colleagues, Steve Bordenero at Navy Lab Newport and the 401 Tech Bridge, the Tech Bridge network on the Navy side can also help you find partners for teaming through our Manufacturing Extension Partnership Network and some of our other nonprofit partners like Maritime Blue or Pacific Northwest Defense Coalition. So we can also support that if you provide the question via email later. I think, let's see.
There's one more.
I see a few more. So the next question, would winning the 50,000 require us to develop a proof of concept, or the Navy will provide proof additional funds for that phase? So that's actually a great point about the type of challenge that this is. So I'll pass it to Dr. Kelly Higgins to describe the, I think, reduction to practice challenge.
Yeah, so this is a reduction to practice challenge, as mentioned, which does technically require development of some sort of demonstration to show that it's working. It can be, fairly simple, but it really should show the integration system, basically, that can integrate the data from two sensor systems into one, so that can be basically create a data stream for further analysis and processing. And so that the demonstration should be done under this current challenge without any further funds for that. Further development, of course, is subject to any sort of follow-on agreement from the stakeholders.
Okay, thank you for that. So next question from Carl Kaiser: is the follow-on work likely to be sole sourced, or will follow-on be an open competition? And that depends. So it'll depend on sort of the results of the challenge. There are different sort of opportunities. So like Maritime Blue, as Ms. Rachel Anderson's announced, a small business or an entrepreneur could potentially could be part of the next cohort for the incubator accelerator with connections to capital and opportunities for networking. Now, the other side is, so some of the challenges sponsor in the Department of Navy, Program Executive Office, Unmanned and Surface Vessels, USC, is interested in looking at the results and has potential follow-on contracts through potential SBIR or other transaction vehicles if there's a solution that piques their interest. So it will really depend on sort of the solution that comes out of this challenge. Okay, next question. So if our solution is an AI, would the Navy be open to provide the data? Oh, always a great question. So at this point, we're not, this phase is not generally about artificial intelligence or a machine learning algorithm. Really, we want to see sort of the fusion of data between the sensors above water, below water, and sort of then see that data that is ready, clean, ready to be analyzed in a second sort of phase of this challenge. So if you have an artificial intelligence that you think can do everything in one fell swoop, we definitely want to look at it. Email the prize challenge, submit it through the website. We'll definitely take a look at it. And then we would have a follow-on conversation about potential data. And the Navy is not the only one that can provide data. There's data, we have actually significant data from local nonprofit partners that could potentially support that as well, that work with Microsoft and Azure for machine learning models. So we have other avenues through this challenge and access to data if we need to get there. So next question. Let's see, it's an amplification of the sole source. So the current phase is just a competition with a selection of the theoretical solution. So yes, it could potentially be a sole source later, as this phase of the contract does meet competition requirements for other transaction authority and OTA. So for those that understand or care about that, that is a potential follow-on, absolutely. Next question from Mark's Foxworth at Graysam Industrial. Our company is a system integrator with multiple partners. Can existing sensors, technologies from other manufacturers be integrated into the final system? And I'll pass that over to Dr. Higgins, actually.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, that this is really getting the integration together. Sensors are, the IP for sensors and others is outside the scope of the challenge. And so kind of the idea here is that you can demonstrate the system's integration with very rudimentary sensors. I mean, sensors that are still somewhat capable and have the data stream that makes them capable of the type of detection we want. But then we recognize that there's a great deal of sensor development that's outside the scope of this challenge. And so those certainly can be integrated into the final system.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for that. So the next question, could you give us the email for the prize challenge? So certainly through the Prize Challenge website, challenge.gov, which Dr. Higgins spoke to earlier. And then we will also have a follow-up email with all the registrants and attendees for today from our partner, Pacific Northwest Defense Coalition, that will have all the amplifying details, contact information after this event. So thank you for that question. Okay, that's all the questions I am seeing right now. Any other questions? Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for your time this morning. We're excited to announce this collaboration, and we want to wish everyone the best. Good luck, and we're hoping for the best ideas to come out of this. So we look forward to it. Thank you so much.